Well, back to the Relief Society. What was their purpose? Eliza R. Snow says, "We were told by Joseph Smith that the same organization existed in the church anciently." I love that quote. That's quoted in the first 50 years of Relief Society. Now, I don't think in the ancient church they called themselves the Relief Society or the Female Relief Society of Nauvoo, of course. But I think what Eliza R. Snow is getting at, and what other Relief Society presidents and leaders of the church have taught us, is that this idea that there was an organized, empowered, authorized organization of women in the church anciently, and that the church always needs that to happen. In their original meeting, in their first meeting, they say that their purpose, quote, "the object of this society, that the society of sisters might provoke the brethren to good works, to looking to the wants of the poor, searching after objects of charity, and in administering to their wants, to assist by correcting the morals and strengthening the virtues of the female community," is what they say their goal is. Joseph, in another meeting, adds a little amendment. Joseph says that it is for the relief of the poor, the destitute, the widow, and the orphan, and for the exercise of all benevolent purposes. And then he adds this wonderful line, "It's not only to relieve the poor, but to save souls," end of quote. I love that. And I love that the book of James says that this is pure religion, that we offer up relief and service to those who are in need, with the intent to help provide for their temporal needs, to help lead them unto salvation as a whole, to save souls. The work of Relief Society is part of and essential to the work of salvation of souls. And that was given at the very beginning of the organization of the Relief Society. I love this. In some of these early meetings, by the way, women start to want to join it and join in. My own fourth great-grandmother, as I'm showing here on this image, from the 8th meeting of the Nauvoo Female Relief Society of Nauvoo, I should use the right term. My own fourth great-grandmother, her name was Polly Sweat, you can see her there, attended that meeting. And then when you read these early minutes, you see them caring for each other, looking after the needs of one another. This sister needs this. How do we help her? This sister needs this. This family needs this. This brother needs this. Donating money, donating items, trading goods. There's some beautiful examples of this sister needs this and doesn't have it. And this sister says, well, I can do that. And I need this. And this sister goes, well, I can do that for you. And they, in essence, trade off service with each other. So they have this practical relieve suffering and relieve and help people in their want. But they also have a higher purpose. I like to call the Relief Society the School of the Prophetesses. And I still like to call it that today. And I don't think it's inappropriate. They, in particular in Nauvoo, saw themselves as a school of prophets or prophetesses. One of the reasons why I say that is because the early Relief Society only accepted women who were worthy. It was not every woman 18 or older as it is today. They were very intent of this society is for righteous, covenant-keeping women. Their notes say, quote, "None should be received into the society but those who are worthy," end of quote, coming from the prophet Joseph Smith. And you can see in their minutes where certain women's names come up and they do not allow them into their society. And that point could be debated right or wrong. But the point I want you to understand is that they wanted it to be for women who are worthy because they viewed themselves as called and authorized in the work of salvation, just like the elders were. Joseph seemed to view the early Relief Society as a preparatory grounds, a temple preparation for the women. It's not coincidental that as the Relief Society is being organized in the spring of 1842, Joseph is also preparing to administer the first temple endowment ceremonies, which I'll talk about in a later video. At one of the meetings, just to show this connection of this school of the prophetesses, or this connection to the temple, Joseph says, quote, he was going to make of this society a kingdom of priests, as in Enoch's day. I love that quote. He's viewing them in the same way that he's viewing the elders. He says to the elders, I want to make you great high priests, like Abraham. Now he's turning to the women and saying, I want to make you great high priestesses, or a kingdom of priests, like Sarah, or in Enoch's day, Adam's and Eve's, Abraham's and Sarah's, so to speak. At another lecture on April 28th of 1842, Joseph gave, quote, a lecture on the priesthood, showing how the sisters would come in possession of the privileges, blessings, and gifts of the priesthood. He's connecting that directly to the temple and its ordinances, but he's teaching it through the Relief Society. You're seeing this preparatory ground. Because of all of this, some of the early women did view themselves as a female school of the prophets. Phoebe Woodruff says they likened it to a school of the prophets to prepare them for it. Later on in Utah, when the Relief Society was organized here, Fillmore Stake President Thomas Callister saw a connection between the Relief Society and the School of the Prophets, saying, this society reminds me of the School of the Prophets, and we might almost call you a school of the prophetesses. Love that idea. By the way, in connection, Emma Smith will become the first woman to receive the temple endowment ceremonies and ordinances that I'll talk about later, and she will administer them to other women, mostly within the Relief Society confines. To the Relief Society, Joseph Smith taught about and used other temple-centric ideas like this. He taught them, the women, quote, that the keys of the kingdom are about to be given to them, that they may be able to detect everything false as well as the elders, that iniquity must be purged out. Then the veil will be rent and the blessings of heaven will flow down. And to the women he said, if you live up to your privilege, the angels cannot be restrained from being your associates. Females, if they are pure and innocent, can come into the presence of God. Now, the reason why I'm connecting this to a school of the prophets is because these are the same teachings that he was giving the elders back in the June 1831 conference. They need to be pure, they need to be worthy, they need to receive priesthood ordinances and covenants. If so, they can rend the veil, angels will minister to them, they can come into the presence of God and have his power with them. He's teaching these women the exact same thing in the Nauvoo Relief Society. Because of that, in the Relief Society, they also, in their meetings, they exercise spiritual gifts, just like the elders did. The elders had visions and prophesied and healed and spoke in tongues. The women of the Nauvoo, of the Female Relief Society of Nauvoo, did the exact same thing. You read their minutes. In one of the minutes I love, they say, we don't have a lot of business to attend to. So they turn to more spiritual exercising of gifts. Women stand up and prophesy. Another woman stands up and speaks in tongues, and another woman interprets it. Although, by the way, Joseph did give a caution in general not to indulge too much in the speaking of tongues and interpretation of it. Could you imagine if we had to say that in the church today? Don't indulge too much in the gift of tongues. One of the interesting things that you may not know is that at this time in the church, women gave healing blessings of faith. They laid their hands on people and healed them of their infirmities and problems. At the close of the April 19th, 1842 meeting, quote, Miss Elizabeth Davis Durfee bore testimony to the great blessing she received when administered to after the close of last meeting by President Emma Smith and counselors Cleveland and Whitney. She said she never realized more benefit through any administration, that she was healed, and thought the sisters had more faith than the brethren. Truer words probably never were spoken. I love that line in there. And this, by the way, women exercising these, what they viewed as gifts of the Spirit, empowered by their authority that they were given, they would exercise these sort of spiritual gifts of faith and give healing blessings of faith. These healing blessings, by the way, go on for almost 100 years in the church. At the Relief Society, Joseph Smith gave some instruction on healing, on women giving healing. President Smith, that's Joseph Smith, offered instruction respecting the propriety of females administering to the sick by the laying on of hands. Said it was according to revelation. If the sisters should have faith to heal the sick, let all hold their tongues and let everything roll on. Respecting the female laying on of hands, he further remarked there could be no devil in it if God gave his sanction by healing, that there could be no more sin in any female laying hands on the sick than in wetting the face with water, that it is no sin for anybody to do it that has faith, or if the sick has faith to be healed by the administration. Notice that they're seeing it as a gift of faith, a gift of the Spirit. As an artist, I wanted to give some representation to this practice that went on in the church. This is a painting that I call Relief Society Healing. showing some women of the Relief Society administering to another woman in her need. This practice goes on for about 100 years in the church. From 1830 to 1930, women would give these healing blessings of faith. I don't have time to completely go into this video. If you want to read an excellent article on it, it's called Female Ritual Healing in Mormonism. Female Ritual Healing in Mormonism by Jonathan Stapley and Kristen Wright. They give the whole history of it and why at the turn of the century in the 1900s, the decision was made by church leaders and some Relief Society leaders and things that were going on in the church to begin to move away from women giving these healing blessings of faith. I should say that our current General Handbook of Instructions says that only elders who hold the Melchizedek priesthood should lay on hands for healing blessings today. And in this painting, by the way, that I'm showing you, the reason why I wanted to show it to you, I'm not advocating any particular position about women and priesthood blessings or laying on of hands. I want to give a historical image so we understand that this went on in the Relief Society. I love the idea of women coming together in love and faith to comfort and care for and strengthen and heal and to minister to each other by the power of God that's available to them through their covenants and by the Holy Ghost. What I want to celebrate in this painting here is women who know their divine potential and how to call upon the powers of heaven to help them accomplish the work of salvation. That's what Relief Society is all about, then and now. There are more ways to heal than laying on of hands. That's important. If anybody feels restricted, which is understandable, by not being able to lay on hands today in the church of a healing blessing of faith, let's understand that there are many ways to bring healing into people's lives. I hope that's what you see in this painting and more. Central to the painting, by the way, if you zoom in here on it, are the intermixed hands in the middle. I love this. These hands praying, these hands supporting, these hands strengthening. How it symbolizes the unity and care that early Latter-day Saint women experienced in the Relief Society ministry with each other as a whole. I hope that you see things like this in this painting. And that's how these women viewed their early Relief Society connection to each other, to bear each other up, to strengthen, to comfort, to heal, to teach, to minister, to correct, to offer relief as a whole.